yes, I just want to welcome you to the first, well, not the first hackathon, but I think the first global hackathon that I've been a part of, and I'm really hoping that we produce good results from this. So yes, today, um, I guess we could kind of mark this as the introduction to hackers getting comfortable with the new OriginTrail ecosystem or the new DKG engine or node system. Interact with that agent, how to interact with your node, and then of course Yuri will be taking it over and introducing some other new cool stuff that even I myself have not yet seen. So I am quite excited and hyped.
I
So
might also, Amos, as you're going through this, since I have been playing with this new node, which is very exciting, I have to say, very easy also to use. I might jump in, and if I see a couple of tricks or hacks I want to add, so don't mind me if I do that. But
yes.
then, of course, for the social graph, we're going to tie it all together, and we can, of course, then if you guys have questions, comments, thoughts, feedback, of course, feel free to let us know. That's why we're here also today.
Yes, indeed. So yeah, feel free. Again, I am also for you hackers out there that are new to the OriginTrail ecosystem. Do not feel afraid or if this is too crazy for you, because this is I am also a newer developer in this realm. Especially working alongside the OriginTrail team of like stacked veterans who've been building things before I was even born, right? So even I am going through this process of learning with you folks. So we're doing this all together. It's a new experience. We're all starting from level zero. So let's level up together, okay? We obviously know that the OriginTrail Decentralized Knowledge Graph is an ecosystem that composes of blockchain technology as well as knowledge graph technology, right? So what OriginTrail is fundamentally doing is merging these two powerful technologies into one to produce something that is more beautiful, that is more secure, and in the area specifically directed towards the internet, right? We all know of Tim Berners-Lee, his linked data internet, his connected web, which it had some uptake, but then also had some drawbacks. And now we see that more than ever with the advent of AI technologies, that it's actually needed more now than ever before. So it's the perfect time for something like OriginTrail to come into the world and show its power. So OriginTrail is really bringing the power of linked data and making that usable for enterprises and the common man. Because I would say typically this is a power that is used by enterprises, not so much harvested by the common man because of the technological barriers and educational barriers as well. So it's good that OriginTrail exists and is democratizing access to such power. So the ecosystem itself it contains of different types of nodes. Well, I wouldn't say different types of nodes, but they have different roles. It's one node, it's one technology stack, it's one code base that you're running. It's essentially one repo that you're running, but this node itself can present itself in different roles, right? So you can have an edge node, which is more exists on the edge of networks, which is like IoT devices, phones, and such. And then you have a core node, which is signifies a more serious role, or I wouldn't say. I think serious is a bit of a wrong term, but I would, for the lack of a better term, I will say serious. But it requires a 50,000 track stake to promote your node from an edge node into a core node status, right? So what this signifies is, hey, I'm serious about what I'm building. This product, I believe, has a lot of weight in the ecosystem. I'm done prototyping. I'm done with figuring out the basics, and I think I want to send this into a real world scenario. You want to upgrade your node. So pretty much, those are where the two roles within the nodes of the OriginTrail ecosystem itself live. Now, so what do these
Maybe
nodes
Amos,
have?
just one thing to add here. It's very, so we like to use this analogy of the core nodes being the antenna in a mobile network, and the edge nodes being the mobile devices, right? So the antenna help uphold the network, and they get, of course, something in return, some rewards in return for providing security and stability and resilience to the DKG, to the decentralized knowledge graph. But the journey, as you mentioned, from to the core node, right, to becoming a core node, will most likely or usually starts with somebody setting up an edge node, right, building up their use case, building up their agent, and at a certain point in time where you're publishing a lot, it makes sense that you also get some rewards back from helping to actually contribute to the network from a stability and security point of view. Then that edge node can be, of course, upgraded at any point in time to the core node with all of the same features, but this addition of being part of the network from a security stability point of view.
Yep, that's correct. So pretty much if you're new into the ecosystem and you're just like prototyping something, you really want to spin up an edge node, right? Because that's free, it doesn't cost much, and you're not going to get out the pockets to start building your MVP, right? After you've secured that and you really want to like, okay, I'm ready to further my product with incentivization and so on and so forth, you that's when you consider promoting or diving deeper into the ecosystem. So so we spoke about the OriginTrail network. We spoke about the component of that network, which is comprised of these different nodes. Well, the edge node and core nodes. So, but what do these core and edge node have? Like, what do they use? What do they do? Well, they transact in something called knowledge, and to do that, we use something called knowledge assets. So you could think of knowledge assets as somewhat like a verifiable packet of data on a particular fact or statement or assertion. I wouldn't say fact because an assertion doesn't necessarily mean something is like a fact, but you're making an assertion on something. Well, what we're doing is, let me draw a real world example. Let's say you have a tree and that tree has a leaf on there. You said that tree has a leaf. Well, you may want to anchor that cryptographically, right? So you can mint a knowledge asset that represents that a particular tree somewhere has this particular leaf. All right. Now that's cryptographically searchable over the decentralized knowledge graph. And if let's say you had upgraded to a core node and you built a business model around that, well, now you've just incentivized or found a way to incentivize trees on leaves on trees, right? So fundamentally, what we're doing here is the DKG is mimicking reality with its technology stack, and it's making reality itself programmable. Because we're making reality programmable, you're able to accumulate data that AI agents can then use in their processes for business processes or transactions or whatever details. For example, you may want an AI agent to only send money when this leaf falls off the tree. Well, all these things are possible in the OriginTrail decentralized knowledge graph using this technology. So again, a technology that mimics reality also means that you can build any potential project as well. So it's just a matter of understanding how you want to model that data. All right. So moving on from the knowledge assets, not moving on from them, but another part of them is the UAL, which is a unique identifier for that knowledge asset. So pretty much in the decentralized knowledge graph, each packet of data has a unique identifier that lets you know this is where it is and this is what it describes. So the UAL allows you to pull up that asset later on, right? So, and of course, the OriginTrail ecosystem runs on the track token. It is the core utility token of the decentralized knowledge graph itself. Let me explain. As we said before, the OriginTrail ecosystem employs blockchain as well as knowledge graphs, right? So the track token is used to secure access to the knowledge graph component of the OriginTrail ecosystem, right? So when you talk about anchoring that knowledge graph data in blockchain, you then use the native token of that blockchain. So an example would be we have track, which is used for the OriginTrail decentralized knowledge graph, and then we have Neuro, which is used for the OriginTrail NeuroWeb parachain. So that token is used to then anchor that data from the knowledge graph in the blockchain. So track is very essential for the OriginTrail ecosystem because you cannot anchor knowledge without it. You cannot publish and perpetuate knowledge growth in the ecosystem without track. So you need that. And I think that we all know what RAG is traditionally. If you're an AI developer, you know what RAG is. So DRAG is something that I would say, in fact, it was pioneered by the OriginTrail ecosystem. There was no other ecosystem using DRAG or anything like that. And side note, I think there was one person before me that coined DRAG for OriginTrail. But I'll give that person, I'll say that that person is the winner who coined it. But this is a very impactful innovation because we're not just limiting access of knowledge to one small domain or one small database, right? Because typically in a RAG application, you're ragging from a centralized database like MongoDB or an isolated MongoDB somewhere, or you're ragging from an isolated Postgres database somewhere. Well, the concept of DRAG is the knowledge graph is spread across the entire globe, and there's only one. So when you're pulling data from the decentralized knowledge graph for your AI agents, for your applications, for your enterprise, you're actually pulling data knowledge from a global decentralized ecosystem, right? So you can see that the access to information, access to knowledge, access to actionable data is supposed to be exponentially higher than if you were supposed to, trying to go around and formulate these deals with these people and, hey, can I use your database? Hey, can I this, can I that, right? So DRAG is a very, 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 very powerful innovation in the world of AI. So this is pretty much why, one of the main reasons why you're here right now, right? So just for the sake of time, I'm going to kind of like squash these together because we need to get moving. So knowledge mining is kind of the process of what we did, what I spoke about earlier. If a tree has a leaf and you want to put that data into the DKG, knowledge mining is pretty much the act of going out there, finding knowledge, things that are meaningful, worthwhile, and putting that in a format that the DKG can understand, right? And one of those formats is RDF and Sparkle. That's what the DKG speaks. The DKG speaks RDF, and we use Sparkle to find out what it's saying. So RDF is the language, Sparkle is the question, all right? And of course, each knowledge asset in the OriginTrail ecosystem is anchored in an NFT that represents that this knowledge does exist. So for example, if I have the knowledge graph and I want to anchor that leaf data on NeuroWeb, it's going to manufacture an NFT on that blockchain that corresponds to that knowledge in the knowledge graph that shows, hey, this person is the actual owner of that knowledge in the knowledge graph, right? So, and of course, when we take all of our learnings that we just discussed and we combine this into something that is one usable, impactful framework, well, I wouldn't say a framework, but I guess a tool set or a tool, we end up with something like Paranet forward with actually getting your node up and running. So I didn't know if Jurij, you wanted to interject here to say anything, or I should just move forward with spinning things up.
Yeah, no, I think the best way to show it and the best way to do it is to, I mean, the best way to understand it is to see it work, right? And I think we go through this, some of the concepts that you explained will be shown also in practice, and that will be the most valuable lesson, I think. So let's go.
Okay. Alrighty. So of course, so we're moving on to the installation page of our documentation. Today, we're obviously going to be installing the latest version of the DKG Edge node on your machine. I already explained that the OriginTrail ecosystem, this system utilizes blockchain itself. So this is what this section is trying to explain to you. It's trying to explain to you it's knowledge graph, but we also have blockchain to anchor that data and make it secure. All right. So today, what we're going to be setting up is, again, our DKG node, but we also have a few prerequisite things that need to get done, right? So let me see if I can pull that information up right now. I already have these steps done on my computer. So you may want to get this done for yourself as well. But NVM is a very important tool that needs to be installed in order to manage the version of your node. And node, of course, is a fundamental piece of the technology node itself. So you need to have these things ran and installed. I already ran and installed these, but I'll just run the first one just to show you like what's taking place here. All right, and it should tell me that I already have it installed. You see, so I do already have it installed. Just want to show you that so that you know that you need to run these steps. And of course, if you're on Linux, you run this. If you're on Mac, you run this. And you need to make sure that you're running at least node 22. So if we go back to my system here, I do believe, yep, oh, wait, actually, I'm running node 25. So you see, it's very good that I checked, right? Oh, yes. All right.
Amos, by the way, we're just seeing your.
Oh, is it only? Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's only showing
I'm sharing my 1 second. Let me share my entire screen. Okay. Is it sharing my entire screen now?
Yes, we can see the console now. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, sorry about that. So I was showing you earlier that I ran this initial command and I ran this first command here and it did show that my NVM is already installed and I sourced to bash and I installed NVM, the 22 version. So you need to have this up and running for your node to install. Okay, this is just the prerequisites to getting it started. So okay, now I already also have my DKG CLI installed, but I will still be running these commands just to get things up and running. Okay, so let's go ahead. Okay, so now I'm going to create my node directory. We're going to head in there. Okay, now this step in particular, this step defaults to the NeuroWeb testnet, I believe. But of course, OriginTrail is multi-chain, so you can choose any of these to get started. For today's demo, we're going to stick with NeuroWeb, but I can easily just take this and put this in there, and it will default to NeuroWeb. But I'm just going to take it from here and paste it in here because I wanted to show you guys the potential hardest route, right? Yeah. All right, so what's taking place here is this is generating your keys, generating your wallet. All right, and what we see here is we now have an environment variable that has all of our keys and all of our wallets in there, right? So let me just take my time here. So you have your publishing wallet, this is where your actual repo exists. Now, this is not essential right now, but if we were trying to install a private repository that has private code on there, you're gonna want to put your username and your token in here so you can download the actual repositories, right? So this is the name of your NeuroWeb node. It comes with a default password as well, and these are the rest of your keys. Now, when you're funding your wallets, you may be wondering, okay, I have 3 wallets because the next step here tells you to fund your wallet, right? So you may be wondering, okay, I have 3 wallets. I'm not sure which one to fund and which one is most important. The one thing I would say is focus on the operational wallet if you are getting a cooldown from the Discord chat. I will show you what I'm talking about real soon. And the reason why is because the operational wallet is what is used, and that is what is bounded to your node ID when we create your node, so that the OriginTrail ecosystem, so that your node can do something called random sampling. And what that is pretty much the OriginTrail ecosystem checks to see if your node possesses certain types of data, right? And it uses this operational wallet combined with your node ID to verify that your node is who it says it is, right? And that you have the data that you say you have. So funding your operational wallet is quite important. Now, unfortunately, for the sake of today's demo, I had already funded. I had already created my wallet today and funded it. So I will currently be on cooldown. So I will show you the actual harder way, which is what I think most people are actually doing right now without saying it because it isn't explicitly expressed in the documentation, right? So I'm just about to pretty much connect my wallets to MetaMask right here. Whoops. All right. I'm going to label this one as my OTP operational wallet. Whoops, not hardware. And I will label this one I think it's management. All right, so I already have some for the sake of time, I already have some funds in these wallets here. So I'm just going to send them over to my wallets, right? The reason why I'm doing it this way is so that you clearly see why we're doing what we're doing here. Because I know a lot of people got confused with this particular step. All right, and this, I believe, is my publishing wallet. Let me double check that. Yeah, publish wallet. All right, so now we have our operational wallet, we have our management wallet, and we have our publishing wallet. All right, operational wallet kind of handles all the, as it says, the operations of your node itself. Your management wallet is what is used to like extract funds that may be earned or manage your actual node, like configure it. And I believe the publishing wallet is for cycling. I think there's a new a plugin that allows you to add multiple wallets for publishing. So you can add more wallets to have a higher throughput in volume in publishing knowledge assets. So you're not limited to just one, right? So, all right, now that we have our operational and all of these things set up, we're just going to transfer some funds, right? So when funding your wallet, typically, you would come into your NV, your end file. You would then open up Discord. I'm going over here to Discord right now to show you. Right? And so this is how you would typically gain your funds. Right? You would say, first of all, you can come here and hit help. And it shows you all the different commands that you can use to obtain funds in your wallet. Now, we know that my operational wallet is this address here. So what I would do is come over to Discord, type fund me NeuroWeb track, right? And I would paste my wallet in there. But this would generate an error because your wallet needs to be funded with NeuroWeb tokens first before you can get funded with track, right? So let's see if that error is going to pop up. Oh, but my account is also still on cooldown. I forgot I told you that. But if you did that first,
quick interjection here, Amos, just for everyone to know, this is so what you're showing now, just for everyone. These are funds for testnet, right? These are testnet funds token. So which is probably, I mean, mostly what in the hackathon we're building with. But then for production deployments, real tokens, of course, need to be purchased, right? Either on DEX, SEX, wherever you can get them, and they obviously don't come through the faucet bot, just to clarify. But for development purposes, this is how you go about it, so doesn't cost anything, and you can be quick in trying and iterating. So sorry, Amos, just wanted to make crystal clear.
Not sorry at all. I think everybody's happy that they don't have to spend money. So no need to be sorry. You're actually quite correct. That's a very important point because this is fake money we're dealing with here to build this product, and you don't want to spend the real money yet. So yes, testnet funds, very important. So as you can see, I'm already on cooldown. It's going to tell me I'm on cooldown. So this is why I told you earlier that I decided to go the MetaMask route, because I know I am on cooldown and I know I already have tokens in my wallet here. So if I go to this wallet here, what you're going to see is that I already have a certain amount of track, and this is the native token on the OriginTrail parachain itself. So this is what I was saying earlier. We have these two tokens. This track token is what is really going to allow you to access the decentralized knowledge graph itself. Neuro, this is what allows you to say, hey, okay, you have data on your knowledge graph, you can put it on my blockchain. That's what Neuro does. So if you were on Ethereum, you'd be getting F. If you were on Base, I think you're still getting F, but it's like BF or something like that. If you were on Binance, it would be Binance chain token, right? BNB or whatever, right? So the point is that this is the network's token, and this is the token of the decentralized knowledge graph. So let's go ahead and hit send over here. Let's grab our publishing wallet address. No, our operational wallet address. And the first thing we're going to do is send some Neuro over there. We're going to send, I always send like just one, because you really don't need a lot of funds on that, on your wallet to get that working, right? So we're going to send our Neuro over there. We're going to see that that's pending. And in the meanwhile, what we're also going to do, oh, you see how fast that confirmed? It already sent. And then we're going to send now some track over there. I'm going to send this 2,000 track to our operational wallet, because, whoever this guy is shouldn't be getting all of my track money like that. Like I'm track rich right now. So I'm going to send him just a little portion, 2,000 track. And then what we're going to do right here now is we're also going to fund our publishing wallet, because this is also the other essential wallet to send, to fund. Typically, you want to fund all of them the best you can. All right, our 2,000 track sent to our operational wallet. Okay, our Neuro sent to our publishing wallet. So now let's send some track over to our publishing wallet as well. Now, I know you guys see me sending this and sending that, but I have a very key point to make here very soon, okay? So after I'm done with sending these tokens off, we're going to make a very important point. All right, and we're now populating our management wallet with some Neuro. And let's populate our management wallet with some track. Now, you don't even really need track on your management wallet. It doesn't necessarily do anything. Like, you're not going to publish assets from your management wallet, but I'm just sending it because, I'm track rich, okay? All right, so while that's working itself out, let's move over to our operational wallet, right? Now, this is the key point I wanted to make. Now we see here that Neuro is in our publishing wallet, our operational wallet, because that's the native token, right? But where is the track? You can't see it, right? So MetaMask itself does not add all the existing tokens to your account, right? So let's go to our end file, and let's go to NeuroWeb subscan. Now, this is the NeuroWeb testnet, right? This is a NeuroWeb testnet blockchain explorer. So what I can do here is I can take the very same wallet address that I generated using my install script, and I could come in here and verify the transactions on that, right? So now that I checked my operational wallet, I can see, hey, wow, my operational wallet does have one Neuro in there. That's what I sent over. Hey, my operational wallet does have 2,000 track. I sent it over, and you could verify these transactions right here, right? And this is the important point I wanted to make. This is the contract for your track token, right? So you come in here, you hit import tokens, you select the network, NeuroWeb testnet, And what you can see, it automatically populates with that token number. So now you can see in your wallet, I can see my Neuro, I can see my Track. In my publishing wallet, I cannot see my Track. So you have to continue to come over here. You have to continue to do this for all your wallets, right? So we're just going to verify that all of our wallets are properly funded. And I repeat, the reason why I'm taking so much time on this funding part is because if you are new to the network node and you don't do this part properly, in the next step, when we're spinning up the node, and it's very easy to do that part, your node is not going to work and you're going to wonder why, okay? So it's just really important that you get this step done correctly. So let's check our operational wallet. All right, so our operational wallet is good. Our management wallet is not yet good. Let's get some. I don't think we got our Track over here yet. Okay, so we need to. Let's send some. It's operational. Let's send some Track there. Okay, seems like we have a little bit of a slowdown here. But either way, the appropriate wallets are funded, so we can still move forward. All right, so now that we have our wallets funded, I am very proud to say to you that you are over probably the hardest part of this documentation, my friends. Okay, so let's move.
Maybe just one kind of, just not to, I guess, scare or lose people too much. This process that you just showed, this is an edge case, right? So if you're doing this the first time, the wallets will be funded through the faucet, so you don't have to go through this sending of funds from one wallet to the other. So this is let's say an edge case when you're trying to do some reinstallation in the same day or whatever. It's good to know, but don't get scared. It's for a usual, let's say, installation. You could get all these things through the faucet in much shorter time with much less effort.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, as I showed here, the reason why we're doing this is because I am currently on cooldown, right? So typically you would have your wallets funded, right? And I showed you how to do it, how to get funded. This is also to cover the additional cases where people run into this issue and they don't know how to resolve it. So now that we have both cases covered where this is your standard process, and we also have the process covered where this might happen to you, now we can move on to actually installing, running the install process. So we're going to head back to our node. I'm going to run our installer. What's taking place here is it's downloading all the requirements. It's, as you can see, it's setting up Node, it's setting up Turbo Repo, it's cloning repositories that are essential to running all of the tooling behind your DKG node, as you can see here. Opening different ports. It takes a little bit on this process here, so we'll just review some of the things. As you can see, it's literally installing these different versions of Node, and this is required for the different parts of the install process later on as it continues to install different dependencies, right? So again, this is why this is very cool, because in previous versions, you'd pretty much have to do all of this kind of stuff yourself and kind of patch this all together. But with the OriginTrail team, they've been killing it with these updates. They've been really going out there, and I'm very excited about, as you can tell, if you can't tell already, I'm very excited about this installer, right? So yeah, we're just gonna see if we could get this up and running. So while that's installing, I'm just going to get over here. And I do believe, yeah. So after this install process is complete, what we're going to do is configure the agent side of things. All right, we're going to start working on connecting our node, our agent, to our node itself. Okay, it's installing Blaze Graph, and Blaze Graph itself, this is your knowledge graph, right? And the engine itself, the engine is the node. All right, so it's installing, and so yeah, as I said, after this, we're going to get through and start configuring our node, and we're going to start talking with our agent. All right. All right, our install is complete. We're going to set up DKG agent. All right. To be clear, what we just did there is we came down and we ran. We just went into our DKG node. And when you do DKG CLI agent setup, it produces the following interface here. Whoops, sorry. It produces this interface, right? DKG CLI setup. And what you're doing here is connecting your node, connecting your agent to your node. So let's go ahead, OpenAI API key provider. This is an API key I have sourced here. We're going to do GPT-5, temperature of 1. By the way, if you're using GPT-5 and you have you set the temperature of 0, it will not work because I believe Jurij was the one who educated me on temperature 0 not being a thing for GPT-5 model. We're going to be on the testnet. We're choosing NeuroWeb testnet because that's what we signed up with, right? And here's our publishing wallet private key. I do not want to configure this right now. Oh, by the way, it may ask me to do a rebuild because of the previous things that I have done inside of here, or not. Great, perfect. So now that we have our agent configured, we have our agent configured, we have our agent installed, we have our node installed, we can now actually run the process. But there is a few things, additional commands. So for example, I want to check the status because there was an earlier issue. If it takes place now, I can actually show how to fix it. It didn't take place. Well, I mean, I guess I should be glad that it didn't take place. But if it was here, if it took place, I would be able to show you how to fix it. But since we have no issues there, one of the other main things to check here is we also want to check that our engine, the state of our engine, right? And the reason for this, I will show you right now. Whoops, sorry, that not to start it. I need to follow logs. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, if we take a quick look right here, we can see the very same address that I funded earlier as the operational wallet. You remember it ends in 6F3 and it had a certain amount of neuro in there, and we sent how many track? 2,000 track. So we can see that that is the address that's being reflected in your logs, right? So that's why you want to make sure that these wallets are properly funded before you get to this step, because when it reach here, you will not be able to do things like create your node identity. So we see that we've been given identity number 85, right? So great, ladies and gentlemen, I am pleased to say our node is up and running. So now all we have to do is start talking to this baby. All right, so let's go ahead and hit DKG CLI run dev. This is the close to the final step of pretty much getting your node up and running. And what happens here is it spins up everything and opens up a UI for you. And this is where you can sign in and talk to your agent. Because okay, I thought it was going to do it to me, but because I spin it up before, it usually just stays in there and I have to restart it. But we're good to go. Just gonna, and hello world, teach me about the DKG. All right, let's see if our agent knows anything. Is our agent listening? Is our agent there? Hello. It's very quick, don't worry. And I think you should be able to see when you sign in as well too. Yep. Thinking quite a bit today.
Maybe do a refresh of the page. Could be that the LLM call got stuck somehow. Doesn't really happen, but
Yeah, it never happens actually. Yeah, it almost never happens. That you guys literally witnessed that for the first time, and of course it's going to take place live. But no, it works perfectly, beautifully. All right, so and pretty much we've just went through the entire installation, right? We started from nothing. We got our wallets funded. We installed our CLI. We got our agent set up. We interacted with our agent, and we accessed the UIs for our interface, which is this is the first the agent interface, which allows you to chat with the agent. Your your login credentials are found right here under step 7, and the exact same steps we just did to view our logs. We verified that all of these things pretty much work. All right. So one core thing that we really wanted to do today, at least, is just create an asset. I don't, Yuri, do we have time for this? Because I know that we had some other things to get done.
I think you should create I mean, that should be a quick one. And I mean, this is like an example. You can also ask it to create a knowledge asset about Amos and use schema.org just to show that you don't have to paste all of this in. Like you can just give a natural language prompt and the agent will structure the knowledge asset, but anything works, right? So depends on how you want to use the agent. And maybe while this is going on, what's happening now, the agent should actually call the MCP tool that will create the asset, but for some reason it's thinking for a little bit too long.
This part, it usually takes a short bit, but it will call. Yep, right here. It will call.
Sometimes also the API calls, so the providers or the LLMs, right? They sometimes they break down, sometimes they don't work properly. So it really depends. So what's happening now is the MCP tool. So the agent took the MCP tool and actually forwarded this or put this example JSON LD knowledge asset in there as input, and it's now creating the knowledge asset on the DKG. And maybe Amos, if you can open it, we can already also, it will explain it, but here it will say actually it failed to create it, some error on the network, and we can ask it
I do believe this is because of funding. Oh no. Okay, we can try. Yeah, so it will try again. It's gonna prompt us to try again. But to further Yuri's point, this is creating using the DKG Essentials plugin right here. So what's taking place is right inside here, we can see it calling the DKG create, right? This is the MCP tool that this particular agent is using to create. See, DKG create. So we will be diving a bit deeper into some other things that you can use, but for now, okay, I'm going to try creating this again because sometimes it does take place like that. And in the meanwhile, let me just verify that. Yep.
And in the settings, as you're doing the same as in the settings, you can also set this tool confirmation to just run automatically, so you don't have to click anytime or every time you try to do it. So there's like some things you can configure there. And
so it may be this. I think the publish wallet is lacking some neuro.
Yeah, if it's lacking some neuro, then it's gonna fail again. And by the way, maybe also for people to see, not get confused, I think you already mentioned it, but for some reason, MetaMask is still displaying neuros in millions. So this is 6, you have to move 6 zeros. It's not actually 0.0001 neuro that he's sending. But this will not, I mean, it will fail now because of the funds again. And I see Killian actually wrote also that this is the stage that he got stuck at, so the same issues with not generating it. So here it's really if the funding is there, this should not be an issue. So one thing to check is definitely if the funding is there. If you're still getting stuck, Killian, feel free to shoot over the error responses that you get. We can have a look.
Publish wallet. Okay, the publish wallet actually is funded.
It could be that the node, for whatever reason, got a bit stuck, right? And since the timeout can sometimes take a little bit long, maybe you can just try one more time, refresh the page, and just try to publish again, and just so that we see one kind of how it looks like when you get the successful knowledge asset created.
It's a good opportunity for people to see. We're going to do it together. Great. Okay. Well,
Okay,
it seems like it's trying again already.
Can you check what the first one responded?
I think it was reverse. Yeah, reverse.
So we tried. Okay.
And you can see in your logs here, all these API requests being made, right? So it's publishing. It's trying to push through right now.
And maybe as this is working, it's a really cool example of actually how the agent, so the DKG agent, can autonomously also realize, and recall the tools or sequence the tools that you built. So imagine you can build. Oh, there we go. So I guess it passed or failed again.
Revert.
Okay, so we're getting some.
I have to refresh the page and give this a try again. And
the agent that you're building, right? Obviously, this is not the standard case. It should be successful in 90+% of the times. But the point being, the agent can work autonomously. Depending, you can also tweak the prompt, but it can also sequence the tools. You can have it, for example, you have a tool that will grab something from some web page on the internet. You can have then a tool that will translate that into a knowledge graph. So into JSON-LD, and then you have a tool that already exists here as it comes out of the box for the node that will publish this on the decentralized knowledge graph. And if you do the tool descriptions right and the prompting of the agent right, you can do all of this with a single prompt. So you could say, go to website X, for example, if that's the use case, and the agent will know, okay, I'll use this tool to extract data from website X, we'll use the second tool to generate JSON-LD, and use the third tool to publish. So it would sequence the chain, it would chain the tools, and it would do this autonomously, right? You wouldn't need to ask it each independently. So it can be really powerful in that sense. So really kind of amplifying and speeding up so the speed of how quickly you can generate knowledge assets on the DKG, and then also obviously retrieve them, enrich them, and all the exciting things that you guys will be doing in the hackathon.
Mm-hmm. Still processing. I think this one might create.
We need to see also this this shouldn't be if you guys are getting stuck with this, please let us know so that we can have a look. This is not the standard process. Usually the publish process takes between 30 and 60 seconds at most. So also what Branimir says, maybe we did misconfigure something. And the node is not running through. Do you have another node that we can run just to show how it looks like?
Not on this machine, but I do have some successful shots.
I can also open otherwise, like I have.
If you have one spinning up right now, you can feel free to
give me 1 second. Need to open it. I do have it for sure somewhere. So let's just quickly do it. Put it up. Open folder. Okay. All right, let me just check if I have everything configured here. DKG node. I'll just run it, and mine should actually work. Oh, but I do need to very quickly reconfigure it to testnet. So give me 1 second. This is I think something we reconfigured, misconfigured something, Amos. I don't think it will run through. But just give me 1 second that I put in the proper env file so that I don't
No
try to
problem.
publish
I
something.
also do have a creation from earlier, what this looks like. So as soon as you create the asset, it tells you that you've published a knowledge asset, and it also gives you the corresponding UAL information. So this, I actually did this earlier today, as you can see, published this morning. So I've been publishing all night actually. So all morning, all day. So it's quite interesting. But yes.
Well, you
But
know
yes,
how these things work. It's always the demo that something goes weird, but I'll set it up very quickly. I have, I think, everything here.
not a problem.
Okay, good. Let me run the node. npm run dev. Okay, so my node is spinning up, and maybe as we're waiting for this, one of the, or spinning up is just starting. Maybe one of the things, maybe we can do a quick intro. We're already at 5 p.m. and we had we wanted also to do a quick intro into the social graph.
Yep.
As this is spinning up, and this should be actually 1 or 2 minutes, and let me just confirm it works. But as it's spinning up, I can give a quick intro into how that social graph kind of plugs into this whole thing, unless you wanted to add anything else at this point, Amos.
Oh no, I think we're good to go. Feel free to take it away.
Good. So my node is almost built, so it's almost done. But the idea behind so one let's say asset, one tool that we haven't provided to the hackers yet, and we'll do this today. It's already actually on. It's already available on the documentation page. I'll show this as well. But since my node is now, okay, yeah, I will have to. Let's see if it will work. I have my node is using this publisher plugin that is publishing a lot of nodes at a lot of knowledge assets to the node. But we'll have a quick look now. So let me share the screen.
All right, I think I'll stop sharing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here we go. Oh, and you know what? As soon as I stopped sharing, it published.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe then you just show it again.
Maybe I can reshare again. All right, let me hop right back in here. 1 sec. Yeah, everything is configured just fine, and as you can see, it is publishing just fine. What we can see here is we have our type, we have our text, knowledge asset collection successfully created, and we have our asset, UAL, right here. So if I were to say, and just to be clear, the agent used the create MCP tool, right? So this is in the DKG tools itself. So you can see there's not only a DKG create, right? But there's also a DKG get. So if I were to say, hey, get me the data for this, which is what we discussed earlier, right? We explained that UALs are the IDs of assets, of knowledge assets in the DKG. It's using the DKG get. which is the exact same tool that exists here in our plugin, right? And this is all under the DKG Essentials plugin. So this shows how powerful this new architecture is, right? Because we can just spin up, we can build plugins for different things, different use cases, and just attach it. So now we can just call this get. And now the agent, what it's doing right now on the back end, it's doing a bunch of gets. You see, it's trying to get the data in your node. It's getting it, the API request. It's get. It's trying to get that information for you right now. So you're seeing this working live. You're seeing your node work on this. This is why I think this is such a cool demo, because you're getting to see everything live. This is real world, how you would experience it for real.
And maybe
All right,
maybe
and I
Amos,
can see the data pulled back successfully right here.
we got this just also to be, so get is not something that you would really use as much in this hackathon, right? So get is when you know the specific identity, so UAL, you can of course retrieve that knowledge asset. What through the hackathon we'll mostly be using is actually graph queries, which are much more powerful, right? So
Right.
you can also there's no generic graph query tool, because query tools are they're relatively easy to build, but they might be specific to the ontology. So let's say the language that you're using to describe your knowledge graph. And this is actually where the social graph aspect and missing assets are actually coming in. And maybe
Okay.
I'll take over, Amos, to show just quickly how that plugs in. I don't have a node running, but I'll give you some great ideas on how actually to use that with your node. Great. So we have just wanted to open this very quickly before we go into the related to this. So the social graph data that is currently on the OriginTrail DKG, it's actually still being published. So some of it is already there. Some of it will be published in the next day, so you guys can start playing around. But there will be more coming in the next day and hours. But mostly that will be relevant for these two challenges, right? So it's for the decentralized community notes, where we're tackling misinformation and deepfakes, and then for the social graph reputation, where we're kind of playing around with computing the reputation using different methods that the DKG can enable. So to do these things, you obviously need some social graph data, and there are two ways we've set up for you guys to be able to access it. And there's a comprehensive documentation here that shows you how you will access it, which I'll also show you. And there is a table of contents which gives you example JSON LD structures. It gives you example Sparkle queries. It gives you exactly where you can access it, what the responses are. So it's very easy to go through. It looks like a lot, but just because there's a lot of example data. What the best way to also use this is to actually also just give this MD, which is also part of the, if you're going to pull the latest code, it's going to be part of the DKG node repo, and it's in there already. So if you use the whole repo and give it to the so Cursor AI, whatever you're using to, Cursor VS Code, whatever you're using to develop, they'll have access to all this data and they'll be able to do cool things for you. Now, what I'll just stop here. This is like, you can have a look at this documentation. We'll share it in the chat here very quickly, so that everyone has it. Bam, it's here. And what I wanted to show you actually is how you can access this data. And there are two ways you can access it. One is the, let's say, traditional API on the node. Now, what we've done essentially is we've set up another node running on this Euphoria OriginTrail network that acts as an MCP server where you can access those social media postings and whatnot. So if you go here to Swagger, you can try things out, right? So if you go all the way down, there's this route for the DKG. And if we say try it out, you can say, I have a couple of queries here. I'll just take one. Let's say this is a query where we're looking for, I'll paste it here so you can see it better. We're looking for anything that is a social media posting. So that is a social media post that optionally has a headline and optionally has a description and some other parameters. And we want to limit this to 10, which is best practice, by the way, just because there's going to be a lot of graph data in the DKG. So in the part of the DKG where you will be querying, best practice is make sure you use the limit, because otherwise you might get huge results back that you won't be able to process efficiently. So here I just put limit 10. We can execute this query, and here you'll be able to see, okay, we got a bunch of responses. So the 5 that it found were from 247 Sports. You can see the post, headline, descriptions, authors, what the URL of that is, and we got this for 5 of the posts. And this is one, for example, query and one way to access it. And here is where I would give you guys a hint. Because this is an API that you can use, obviously, as in a script, but also your agent can use it. One easy way to include this into your DKG node is to simply build an additional tool. You can build it in your own plugin that is, for example, called the DKG Sparkle Query, and use this API as part of the tool. So that means that if you're building something and you're, for example, you have on your node a tool that is able to publish to your node and is able to do some cool transformations with the data and then publish, you would be able to do everything in one place. So for example, you created this tool, you say, give me top 10 let's say posts around trending topics like Bitcoin, and you would get this data back, and then the agent could manipulate the data further immediately with the other tools that you have. So that's how if I was part of the hackathon, which I'm not, but that's how I would do it, because that's really cool, really exciting. You can chain the tools, and all of this then the agent has available to rework, to attach to the notes that you're doing. So anything that you had in mind for your challenge. Now that's one way to access it. The other way to access it, the same tool is also available as an MCP tool. So this one I'll actually close because that's the one I tried to open before. The second one is the MCP tool, which is like in VS Code, as you see here, very easy to add. It's just, and this is also in the documentation, by the way. You don't need to worry about it. You simply add this into your config, and then your agent, if you look at here, actually has this tool available, DKG Sparkle Query, and it can run the same tool. It can run the same queries. It can run different queries. So for example, here, just to show you, I'll say query the social graph for any info on this particular entity that I happen to know is in the graph. But we could have run the same query as we did there. Here you will see, right, it will return this, run this query, it returned this data, and there you go, it returned everything from the DKG that we have on this data, headlines, description, and so on and so forth. Now, those are extremely simple queries, right? So if you're then developing in VS Code or in Cursor, you can use the MCP tool, you can then use the API tool to actually include it in your own MCP tool. So there's plenty of ways to use this. If you get stuck, if you have an idea that you're not sure how it would work, just pop a message into the Discord channel. I'm happy to hop in. Anybody else from the team is happy to hop in. But this gives you essentially now the access to all of the social graph data, and all of this, if you put it, so this is the documentation page, the same as we have on Docs. You have everything here, everything AI would need to help you build more comprehensive and relevant queries than just the two that we used here, a showcase, right? So these are two simple ones, but that's available. It's free. You don't need any authentication. You can just go to the documentation and use the Euphoria server as either of the tools, and that's it, right? You have access. Then what you do with it, of course, that's part of the challenge, part of the hackathon, and happy to get your ideas, help you build on your ideas. And if you get stuck around using this, do just pop a message in there. But if you give the context to your code editor, to your AI assistant, they will be able to build you this tool very, very quickly, because it's a very simple tool. The tool would take input a Sparkle query, it would pass it to this API and return. It's probably 5 lines of code. So depends on how you want to work. What that means is that then your agent in the interface that Amos was showing, so in the DKG Node UI, is available, has access to this tool directly, and you can do all sorts of cool things directly there. That's I think a quick intro from my side for the social graph data. I don't know if I didn't keep track if there were any questions. I see there's something in the chat. Yes, the call is recorded. If there's any other questions at this point, I'm also happy to answer. We can talk more about it. But if not, I would suggest you guys grab the docs for this, dig into it, and let us know how it works. We'll keep monitoring that we get all of the data in the next days, and we get the data to you. So, see, Branimir, can I show the plugin architecture, please? Yes, definitely can show the plugin architecture. There, we can close it. Bam. So this one. So this is the, and maybe I need to zoom in a little bit, huh? And the plugin architecture, how it works. This is a very good point we didn't cover in the beginning. So the and let me collapse all of these things so that we have a clean slate. So your DKG node is composed of, and we see Amos, you also posted the architecture. I can open this up as well. But I'll do the code intro first since we're already here. So how the plugin architecture works is you have your app, or you have your agent. Your agent is your, let's say, main kind of the main component of, or let's say the core of the app that you're building, or the agent that you're building, and then it can access all of the so by the way, this includes the MCP server, so this is in the agent. And that agent and MCP server, they essentially pull in all of the plugins that you have here in packages. So here we have, for example, a bunch of plugins. We have the authorization plugin, we have the DKG Essentials plugin, publisher plugin. Maybe here is the easiest to show on the example plugin. So you can open up your own plugin. It can be scaffolded very easily. You have it in the documentation. It's one line of code. You give it a name, and something like this will open up for you. And this is where you can then start building your tools. Now, from an agent point of view here, that we have from your DKG node UI, any tool that you add in your own plugin, it will just, they don't care if you have 10 plugins, 20 plugins, the agent will have access to all those tools. And here, for example, it's like an MCP register tool. That's how you do it. Here is where you add the title, description. This is important. This is very important because this is what the agent will see when you send the request, and then it checks which tools it has. It will get the titles and descriptions. So it's very important you have good titles and descriptions so that the agent knows how they can use them. And then here is when you write your code, and you can also retrieve actually or return the knowledge assets so that they will show up in the component above when, for example, you ask a question and you want to get the knowledge assets that the answer was based on. This is also part of the documentation. I wouldn't go in here, but it's like you pretty much add them like this to your code. And there's two things in the that you can do in the plugins that you have. So let's say you created this plugin, you named it plugin 123. You added an MCP tool, and then you're thinking, okay, so I want my agent to be, able to access this tool, but I actually also have some other external agents or applications or whatever that I don't want to give the MCP tool to, but I want them to access it via API, for example. Just like we were showing here, right? Just like this particular case is implemented. And actually, I can show you on this. It might be even easier to actually understand, because we have exactly the same tool. So I'll just open the DKG tools. Oops, that's not it. Not the dist. So DKG tools. I'll just close this down so you can see a little bit better. So we have this API version, MCP version of the tool, which is here. So this is part of this Essentials plugin. You can write it. So it's the code that checks the Sparkle query that you send. It will retrieve the stuff, and then it tells you, Sparkle query is wrong. This is the MCP version that we showed in the VS Code before. Now exactly the same version of the tool can be exposed as an API, and then it's accessible via API. So you have a lot of flexibility in how you're building the agents and the apps that you're building. And sometimes you might need this, right? Sometimes you might need some tools to be exposed via API. Sometimes MCP is enough. Sometimes MCP doesn't make sense. So the DKG node gives you that flexibility, and everything you build in here and install as the plugin in your server which is done automatically when you are when you scaffold it, I believe. Otherwise, it's simply an import that you need to do in your server. So over here, once you have a plugin, you import it like this. So we have the DKG Essentials, for example, and then you just load it up in your list of plugins, which is, oops, I skipped it. So which is down here. So here you can see I have the default plugin, auth plugin, account management, DKG Essentials plugin. And then you can play around. I don't want to go into this here. You can play around with adding authorization scopes and all these things. This is documented, but gives you a lot of flexibility to keep your node as protected or unprotected as it's needed for the for building for whatever use case you have. Now that's, I think, like a good. Was that a good overview, Brian? Is that what you had in mind, or I can also open the docs, this, what I just described, this pretty much loaded also in this DKG architecture, right? We have the server and the agent above it that draw in all of the plugins. And they also have, there's also that API that we discussed. And then, yes, the LLMs and the DKG node engine and databases underneath. But that's how the plugins work. So if you, for most of you, if not all of you, will be building your own plugin with your own set of tools, with your own set of MCP tools, API tools, depending what you will do. And for people who are building on these two challenges that are requiring the social graph data, what you would do is pretty much then in your my suggestion to do is that you then go to your plugin. And actually add a tool with your plugin that, for example, enables your agent to access that API to get the queries, get them back, and do whatever you will do in the challenge with the data. And I'll stop here now. I've been talking for a while. Hopefully this clarifies the plugin system a little bit more. But exactly what Branimir wrote. So basically, you're going to be spending most of your time in here, right, in this plugin section, building your own plugin, building your own tools, tools that kind of build on top of each other, exposing them as MCP, as API, and then of course everything in the node is configurable, right? So if you want to have your UI, have your own custom colors and things, obviously that's something you can also do. You can tweak the prompts, you can do everything, but most of the, let's say, the exciting work will happen in this plugin section here, where you will be building the tools that will do what you intend to do for the challenge. Cool. So we're already like 20 minutes over, but hopefully this was useful. I don't know is there anything else that I missed, Amos, that pops to mind?
The most important thing to me was, if you're talking about plugins, was like the scoping, protecting those plugins, like obviously after you develop it. So, and you cover that. So I pretty much think everybody is like good to go. If your node is up and running, your main focus right now is building out plugins that are useful towards the hackathon. So just as Brandon said, I think that's really the point that we need to get across, actually. In true, your primary focus is building these plugins and making this as robust as possible as your submission to the hackathon. So I think that once we clarify that, I think everyone's in a good position.
Yeah, and maybe the last thing, it's a good point. So protecting your plugins is very simple. So here we have an example of actually I uncommented it, but let me do this or commented it because I didn't need it. But how you can easily protect it is like you have the standard API-based protection. So anything that is behind LLM route needs an LLM scope authorization token. This is something you can do up top here. You can protect your entire plugin and give them a namespace. So for example, here namespace is called protected. That means all the API tools that you build will be behind your node URL /protected/API route. And then you can put this behind the authorization requirement scope as well, the entire plugin. So there's a lot of, I think this is well covered in the documentation as well, but it is important obviously, so that if you have things that shouldn't be accessed, that you put them behind proper authorization. And the DKG node does have proper authorization because it's OAuth based, so it's really state of the art. There's a question here. Do we also need to add plugin of trust layer like tokenomics or X402, then an efficient way to show trust layer. Yeah, definitely you can build a plugin that would enable the agent to interact with X402. That would be the best way to go about it. And then when the agent needs to transact for something, it knows, okay, this is the tool that I need to use, and then it will call it automatically and use it depending on the logic that you've built into the tool itself. Does that answer the question? No worries, no worries, and feel free to ask these questions on the chat as well, right? I think we'll try to do our best to be very proactive and help you guys, especially now with this new, let's say, social graph tool. Let me know if you have any issues. We've tested it as much as we could, but obviously now you guys are going to test it even more. We can make fixes if something goes wrong very quickly. And I'm looking forward to seeing you guys using it. And if you have any questions like this one, any considerations, maybe architectural questions to point you in the right direction, throw them in Discord, and we'll get the answers cracking. But yeah, happy to answer anything else if someone else in the audience still has a question. If not, then I suggest we slowly close the call since we're, I think, already half an hour over. For whatever reason, my video keeps turning on and off, and I just realized it was off the entire time. Hopefully you guys can see me now. And we continue the conversation in the channel, and I see some more people typing, but I guess not. Yeah, Branimir is still typing something. Let's see, but if we don't have anything else, then I would say thank you. Yeah, of course, give feedback on the session. That would be great. We'll try to do another session if it's needed in the future. If there is things that are still unclear, to help you guys build better, faster, and that we also get the feedback for the node. Sometimes the feedback is it looks like it's huge, but might be just a small fix in the node that enables you to work a lot better and more efficient. So do share the feedback, do share the questions, and we will try to be as interactive as possible in the channel. Yeah, session is recorded. You can review it and just scope in to the parts that interest you most, for sure. Great. Then thank you, Amos, for the intro. Thank you, everyone on the call for joining. And let's continue the conversation. And really excited to see what you guys build. Don't wait till the end if you have questions, right? Just pop them as they come in. I'm sure other people will be able to help as well. And let's build some cool stuff on the Decentralized Knowledge Graph. Perfect.
All right. Have a good one, everyone.
Have a great weekend, Good Friday, whatever you guys are doing, and we'll speak soon. Bye-bye.